Hello, hello. I can't hear myself. There we go. Way better. Ha, what's up? This damn cable. It's stuck in everything and nothing at all at once. Nope. There we go. Ah. I'm excited to continue this case. Down. Sorry, brain empty right now. Why are you looking that way? You look more towards the camera. Oh well, you literally don't have room, do you? Your tail is too big. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon in my off time. I even wrote down like what I have to catch and what I have to level up. But I think I'm actually I still have some things missing here, but I'm mostly like done with it. I am doing pretty okay, to be honest. Just chilling. Just been watching RT gameplay Elden Ring. Which is kind of funny because like that's not my type of game at all, and I could never play that type of game. It's just like it's way too much skill involved, you know? And I don't know if you watched my Sherlock Holmes chapter 1 playthrough. Combat, not my strong suit. like I can't do it. It looks dope, but I could never. Yeah. But it's fun to watch others play it and be like, "Oh my god, no, 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 no! You gotta dodge here. You gotta dodge here. No, you're fucking dead. What did I say? What did I say?" It's like you always know better than the one actually playing the game. At least you think you do. But it's kind of fascinating how they just keep doing like the same mistake over and over again. It's like whenever the big boss is about, you can see that they're like charging up for like a big attack. That's when you go for the offense. And it's just like, why? You're about to get hit so fucking hard. Anyway. There was something I wanted to talk about when I started the stream, but I just forgot again. Oh well, it'd be like that, I guess. I think, without any further ado, let's just get into the game, huh? That's the wrong fucking thing. Never mind, here it is. It's fun to talk trash about them, but deep down, I know that I could never do what they do. Yeah, exactly. Alright. So, we're on to the investigation part, the second investigation part. We just finished the first trial part. Whew, we made it back in one piece. Just. To be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while. Oh, I know! What a lot of close shaves! There are so many carriages in the streets of London. They were very nearly flattened several times. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruhodo-san. It really was. I was in awe of you. Oh, thank you. The office is empty. Oh yeah, fuck, it is. I didn't even realize. Why is it empty? Oh, because they just started, right? Makes sense, I guess. And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can't find some new clues for court tomorrow. Yes, let's do that. Is everything alright? I suppose. I still can't quite believe it, that's all. That I'm here in England, working as a lawyer, I mean. In the Old Bailey, no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma. It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow him to Great Britain and work alongside him. Yes, I mean, I never had the chance to ask him exactly why, but he clearly had a plan. Yeah, I think they just moved in. I don't remember exactly the timeline, unfortunately. But that does seem to make the most sense. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. You're doing wonderfully, Naruhodo-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same if he were here with us. Thank you, Susato-san. Thank you. Damn, so empty. Ladder, please, let me fucking... It's a ladder. Nothing particular of note. Not a ladder. An actual ladder. Oh. Perhaps we should put this spade away somewhere. That's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. Oh no. I see. So this is not about a ladder or a step ladder. It's about a shovel or a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? You're so right, Naruhodo-san. We mustn't quarrel over such trifles. On reflection then, I think I'll leave this spade where it is. Yes, I think that's for the best. We may need a shovel when we're working in the garden. Please. What? Or is it trowel? I don't think so. These tanks are for keeping sea creatures. They're called aquariums, and they were all the rage in London at one time, apparently. Yes. The English are so clever, coming up with the idea of having ocean life on display in the home. And it means you always have an emergency midnight feast on hand, too. I'm not sure that's really the idea, no. I don't think you should eat your aquarium fish. I mean, I don't know. I heard there's another room behind that door. Yes, it's my bedroom, Naruhodo-san, as you well know. Shall I help you unpack your things? That's very kind, but no thank you. Your luggage looked very heavy. Are you sure I can't help you move it? That's very kind, but really, no thank you. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. The only secret I have is the 5-yen banknote hidden on the backside of my Daruma doll. Is it now? They have garlic Thursday if you really crave some garlic fish at midnight. Why not? No, not examine. Converse, thank you. It was quite a shock earlier today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand. I know. Not only that, but then finding out that he is actually a barefaced gas thief as well. Yes, that was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Soseki-san poisoning the tea. Careful of your phrasing, Susato-san. He didn't poison anything. And there's more to this Mr. Shamspear than we yet know, I'm sure of it. Mr. Shamspear clearly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first. What's become of him, actually? I was told that he'd be returning to the hospital ward where he was receiving treatment. Oh, which one is that? Let me see. Ah, yes! He's at St. Bartholomew's, or Bart's as Londoners call it. We know that place, don't we? Yes, we visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital to which she was taken. Ah, yes, after Soseki-san stabbed her in the back. Do be careful of your phrasing, Naruhodo-san. He didn't stab anyone. Perhaps we both owe Soseki-san an apology. St. Bartholomew's. Yes, we should probably visit the hospital later. So we know that Soseki-san took tea to the victim on the night in question, but as he isn't the culprit, then obviously... Yes, the poison surely wasn't in the tea. But if that's the case, how on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamspear's body? I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. There must be something in Mr. Shamspear's room that will help solve the mystery. Well, naturally, Scotland Yard detectives have been over the place already. But it couldn't hurt for us to have another look around, I think. Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea left in the bar of soap. Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, we could ask him about that. Kasuma Asogi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then, after the trial, that crazy idea he came up with. As a stowaway? Yes, you can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. Kasuma, won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths so that I can accompany you to Great Britain? Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through that trial. That you really ought to go into law, be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it. Believe me, I guarantee it. But I've never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London is the cultural capital of the world, the city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. No, that's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, then one day... One day what? Oh, no. Never mind. Naruhodo-san! Oh, sorry, I was just thinking about Kazuma. Yes, he's forever in my thoughts too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better. That was his dream. And that's why he so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course. Yes, that's right. But... Yes? I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know, the thought just takes hold of me every now and then, that's all. Naruhodo-san, you meet my Kazuma-sama's true intentions. I mean this. I did not expect that! His katana. I never expected to inherit this sword after Kazuma passed away, of course. No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it. When I have it at my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage. Yes. Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword. Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. I thought you would need much compelling on that subject. There's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. Something you have to do? Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is. I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. What did he mean by something very important that I have to do? I had hoped that the answer to that question would become apparent when we arrived here, but as yet, I've not found a single clue. I see. What do I have to... Okay, I just have these things. Nope, wrong button. Ugh. Let's see, where should we...
Oh, Bruno and Susie! Hooray, you're back!
Hello, Iris. You're in fine spirits as always, I see.
I am, and you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie.
Oh, you flatter me.
Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I've just made a pot of tea. I'll set some cups.
Really? Thanks, Iris. But actually, what is that foul smell? Aha! The Wanderers return at last. Where on earth had the pair of you been? We've been in court? Oh, for Mr. Musashi's case. That was today, was it? I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go? Reasonably well so far. We've managed to escape without a guilty verdict at least. Really? I would have liked to see it. And I must pass the time of day with Mr. Reaper again. It's been too long. Is Lord Van Zieks an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes? Naturally. There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name is Naruhodo. Not quite what I asked, but still. Mr. Sholmes, whatever is that odor? Yeah, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful. Ah, indeed. That's the scent of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science. Oh no, a small update. You didn't miss much. They just talked. Well, they talked about Kazuma, I guess, but it's pretty much just everything we know, that he wanted to go, or he was going to Great Britain to do something very important, but we never find out what that important thing is. That's pretty much it. That's what you missed. Oh dear. Alright, I'll bite. What's he up to now? Let me take a look around here and see if I can find the culprit myself. No. Ah, fine, I'll talk. Lord Baroque Van Zieks. Yes. It's an interesting I hate these words! Damn! Ugh! It just takes so much time fucking searching it up. And then I can't fucking type. Okay. K. It's an interesting sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Bailey. That's it. Once the legendary prosecutor has fought for someone's conviction, that person is doomed. Even if he or she is found not guilty by the courts, sooner or later the hapless soul will vanish from the capital. But vanish how exactly? By falling under a passing carriage or drowning in the Thames. Or succumbing to a sudden fever, or quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow. It all seems a little far-fetched, really. It was a French word. Well, on the bright side, Mr. Mustache is fighting fit for the time being, at least. That's not overly reassuring. If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquitted are, well, by Lord Fonseca's own hand. As it happens, Miss Susato, that is quite impossible. Oh? Why? Naturally, the man very quickly came under such suspicion. However, whenever these incidents occurred, the Reaper always had a cast-iron alibi. Really? And so his reign continued, but 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as the prosecutor again. That is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, so I've heard. In fact, it was the very day I arrived, when I was thrust into that trial at the Old Bailey. He just murders people he thinks are guilty? I guess that's what they want you to believe. That bitter fight to the death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection. It really did end bitterly indeed. And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again.
Oh, Bruno, I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky. Or incredibly unlikable.
I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing. Of all Japanese people. So, what is that indescribably foul smell? Ah, well, most probably this, I would say. What is that? My dear fellow, it is, of course, my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not a tea is genuine at the drop of some tea.
Oh my!
There are some unscrupulous sorts manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They regularly sell what purports to be high-quality tea, but is in fact merely dyed leaves of drab flavor. Well, that's certainly unsavory behavior. So, when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful. Iris!
At the ready, Hurley!
Let us add a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea here. Do you see what happens? It's coffee now. It's turned completely black! And what a foul odor it's giving off! Indeed, the blacker the tea becomes and the more foul the odor, the better the tea is. But you can't drink it! It would appear that this cup was a particularly fine Darjeeling. That's very ingenious, but what do you do with that black liquid now? Why, dispose of it naturally. Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you? There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with your new invention, Mr. Sholmes. Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madam. Right.
The point is, we are entering a new era of science. In the world of criminal investigation also. Yes, forensic science! Oh, these are such exciting times! I regularly engage in this scientific experimentation alongside my unofficial consulting detective work. The Sherlock-Holmes method will be the foundation upon which modern investigative technique is based. This little tea indicant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research.
Forensic science? I suppose I should find out more about that. Sure, let's go with that. So, your T-test, is that an example of forensic science?
Indeed it is. An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is of high or inferior quality.
Not a huge number of cases, then.
Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints? Not yet accepted in our courts as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels here.
I hadn't even heard of them until recently.
Which is partly why I undertake research in this field myself, of course. Does that mean that you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes? There are others in that field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I am researching is skin prints.
Skin prints?
A nomenclature of my own design, as is this chemical agent that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects touched by whichever person is under investigation. Brilliant, Mr. Sholmes.
As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorous and black.
I assure you, my dear fellows, you will witness my forensic talent in action very soon indeed.
Okay, Japanese people, let's go. With Mitsuru Natsume, who I'm currently defending, being Japanese as well as Misusato and myself, I felt it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Zeek seems to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese.
Indeed. It is an interesting observation. Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes? It was about 10 years ago that Barak van Zeeks chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan.
No! What the? Tell us more, Mr. Sholmes. What happened?
I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair.
Oh, but...
The veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course, I have no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Mustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe.
Glad I saved that one for last, not gonna lie. Well, I think we should go back to the scene and see if we can uncover any new clues.
That's the spirit, Bruno! See you later!
Yes, until later. No, Mr. Sholmes, we were thinking you'd come with us.
You were?
Yes, of course! You just said so a moment ago. You said we'd witness your forensic talents in action.
Ah, yes, I do recall saying something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I shall be sure to follow you later, in all likelihood. Probably. Maybe. Well, I might.
Your commitment astounds me.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We'll eagerly await your arrival. Bye-bye, Bruno. Bye-bye, Susie.
Okay, let's go back to Shakespeare's room, I think. Oh, hello again, Inspector Gregson. What are you doing here? Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually.
The lawyer representing the defendant has the right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah, I know the school. Sholmes has the memory of a goldfish and the commitment of one too. He is such a mood sometimes. We always say that goldfish have poor memory, but they actually don't. They actually have pretty decent memory. Oh, yes, one other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With a tea in it? We found it alright, and there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said.
I knew it.
It's with the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today.
That's wonderful news, thank you.
Very impressive performance in court this morning. Sorry? Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here. Oh, there he is. Hello, please show us your great forensic science. Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there?
What a question indeed. Was it not your good self who asked me to attend the scene?
Why? What are you doing here, Sholmes?
What are you up to over there? What are you doing here? Dear me, once a great detective, one is always under scrutiny, it seems. It's now the time, Mr. Sholmes. Are you about to show us your forensic talents in action as you promised? With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madam.
What's all this?
All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Sherlock Sholmes' sensational skin print seeker gun. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim.
A sample? From Mr. Shamspeare's cup?
Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these goggles. Here, try them on. There. Now spray the chemical indicator about and all will be revealed.
Spray? How? How do I do that exactly?
Little press of A on the area you're interested in is all that's required, like this.
What is that stuff? It's like fog.
A suspension of the chemical indicator in a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. That was another invention I discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea.
As you do.
Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. We may learn something interesting about the victim's movements on the night in question.
Well, there's nothing to lose, I suppose. Let's explore. Look, there are dozens of handprints here.
So there are. A great many indeed. So much so that it's hard to make out any one individual print, in fact. Ooh, it sends a chill down my spine.
Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture.
Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene, after all. And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters, I feel.
Oh, very true, Mr. Sato. It's a bit of a mystery, then. Yeah, I noticed that thing. I was like, that seems suspicious. It looks very different from the rest of the floor. Oh, look at all this here.
Ah, yes, interesting. A multitude of the victim's handprints. Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot?
No reason. Oh, perhaps he had a bad fall just here. Several times over.
There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over, though, is there?
I wonder.
Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over. I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mrs. Sholmes. Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor.
Yes, there's no obvious explanation. Loose floorboard? Couldn't possibly be. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over this room, didn't we?
We did, but there are two places in particular that are of interest, I would say.
The handprints on the floor there. And on the wall by the picture, you mean? Ah, yes, perhaps he fell a lot here, just where the floorboard looks like it can be picked up. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yes, and I think the floor warrants closer investigation. It won't be a moment.
Huh? What is it, Mr. Sato?
Look here, Mr. Naruhodo. One of the floorboards has popped out.
One of the... You mean... it's a secret hiding place?
Excellent work, Mr. Sato. So, what do we have in here?
Oi, what are you lot doing? Inspector Gregson, stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate here.
No need, Inspector. You continue to dig into your portion of chips whilst we dig around under the floor here.
The fancy talk's putting me off my food anyway, Sholmes. A new bit of evidence is exactly what I need. Wow, a secret hiding place under the floor. What a find!
It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift a straw tatami mat.
Oh, I know, but I never expected one of these wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there too. Aren't you curious?
Oh! I'll investigate at once.
If that's supposed to be like the picture covers up a hole in the wall, then why are there no handprints on the actual picture frame? But just on the wall around it. This is exactly how I remove picture frames. Just like fucking hands on the wall, just like, yes, this is how I remove a frame. What?
There's nothing behind the picture, sadly.
Okay, only the wall. So it's a push thing. Interesting.
How disappointing.
But then, how do you explain the handprints?
I really can't think why anyone would have been touching the wall over and over in one place like that.
He just really liked looking at that picture, getting really close to it to see properly. Yes, exactly.
There you are, a print for you.
Oh, thank you very much. This invention can make prints too. Now then, I wonder if Inspector Gregson has found anything under the floor there.
I'm desperate to know. So am I.
Wait, like, there are handprints over the picture too, but they're not in like a grabbing motion, you know? Gregson, I'd love to know if there is anything hidden underneath that floorboard here.
Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted.
I think he hates your guts, but okay, sure, go ahead.
Inspector Gregson, really, it's been too long.
What is it, Sholmes?
I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there, seeing as we're such good friends.
Considering the height of the hands, I would say that unless he leaned his head a lot downwards, he was interested in the lamp. Yeah, that was also, like, my guess, but there isn't really a lot of, like, handprints on the lamp. I don't know. We're not friends.
No, I suppose not. We are a couple of besties. A dismal failure.
Yes, I heard. Ugh, I'd kill to know what was under that floorboard. Do you not get watch your words, my man? Alright then, fair's fair. What? You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in. Really, Inspector? Thank you.
Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the weather.
Oi, stop making me out to be some kind of nut. There were 3 items under the floor there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box. Now, what do you want to know? That's in order. Looks like this was cut out of the paper about 3 months ago. It's about a convict who got sick and died while he was serving time up in Manchester. How terrible. It made the headlines down here in London as well. Bloke had been sentenced to death, you see, but nature got to him first.
Oh my goodness! He'd committed a capital offense.
A man by the name of Selden. Nasty piece of work into burglaries and murder. They say the hoard he'd knocked off was worth about £1,000. A hoard of treasure, you mean? Jewellery and the like, but he'd hidden it somewhere and no one knows where. And now he's dead. The papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost en route to hell, or some such was the headline.
Does it not strike you, though? Why such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor?
I suppose now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got on Selden back at the yard and see if I can turn anything up. So this is the photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me.
Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the street in front of the house here.
The convict lived in Sosaki's room, right? I don't know.
And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Garadeb, the landlord, of course.
But who's the young man on the right? Mr. Garadeb's son, perhaps? Perhaps. You can take that print if you like. Really? Are you sure?
We can presume, therefore, that the yard already knows. The identity of the young fellow, that is.
Ah! Is that true? Oh, it's too bad if we do. Unfortunately for you lot, leaking information isn't one of my pastimes.
My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes are for one's leisure, but this is for work.
All the more reason I'm not telling you. I think Soseki told us about the convict's curse and how a convict lived in the place before him. Ooh! Yeah, okay. See, I'm good at paying attention. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, I heard. I wonder why a photograph like this was hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Shamspeare himself isn't in it.
Photographic prints are still rare treasures in the East End. I imagine Mr. Garadeb was rather delighted to have been immortalized, and he probably made a proud present of it.
I don't know. What about the tin box? Oh, this tin box looks interesting, doesn't it?
Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it? If you were to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be in the least surprised.
Funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty.
What? Shamspeare, give us a clue, man! You didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Naruhodo. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box.
Yes, thin air. It's empty, rather, like how I feel inside. Is there nothing more to this box, then? I wonder. Hi! Oh, you're so cute.
Look! It's that lovely little kitty cat. What was its name?
It's Mr. Nutsume's, isn't it? I don't think we ever asked him, actually. Why don't we call it, Wagahai? You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese. I wonder how he got in here. Clever cat.
Oh, wonderful! Well then, Magahai, there is something delicious I bought for you from the cat's meat man.
Oh yeah, the bow tie, amazing. That was some great animation. I'm just putting it out there. That was great. That was very realistic animation, actually. Like the little, like, shake while it was eating. Oh, great. 10 out of 10 cat animation.
He couldn't be happier now, look.
I just hope we can bring some happiness to his owner, too. Oh. Stop! Oh, you're so cute. Oh, yes, a big stretch. Oh. I hope they spend half the game budget on that tiny kitty. It's needing bread. Yes. That was a cheeky little meow, Agahai. Oh, but he's so adorable. He does it again. Oh, I could sit and watch him forever. Me too, Susato. I think he may not appreciate that after a while. And we have an investigation to get back to. Who cares? Cat. Cat is all that matters. If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh.
That's true, but if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change.
London's winters can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Susato-san and I are going to make it to spring.
That's true, we don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove.
Look how dark the stain on the floor is underneath the meter there.
Yes, from all the water dripping out after the ice coins melted as you established in court this morning.
It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it?
Mr. Shakespeare must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose.
It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. The sun never shines in this room, thanks to that depressing bricked-up window.
Yet, without enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you?
That sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mr. Sato.
Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ah, the ill-fated teacups from which the two men drank on the ill-fated night.
During their heated literary debate, yes.
Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? It sounds like it was quite a discussion.
Now I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers in the play ended their lives with poison.
That's fiction, Mr. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way. Okay, I don't think there's anything else I can do here. I'm struggling with understanding what you just wrote. I'm not gonna lie. Let's go see how he is doing. This poor man.
Oh, Mr. Natsume is back.
So he is. Mr. Natsume! Hello! I'm a cat. Sorry? I don't know who Mr. Natsume is. Or Herlock Sholmes. I don't know about courts or trials or Old Baileys. I am a cat. That's what I am. Just a cat. What a mood.
Mr. Naruhodo, he's trying to escape from reality.
Trying to? He already has. Completely. So, what is your name then?
As yet, I have no name. Mr. Naruhodo, he hasn't fully thought out his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality.
Do you think you could open your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume? Oh, she said that the lovers use poison in the play, and then I hope it stays fiction. And I'm just wondering which part she wants to stay fiction. Don't think too much about it.
I am not a cat. It worked! He's back in the real world! What's going to become of me? No! Don't answer that! It's obvious! My accursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate! Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in court prove that there's hope. Yes, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire was brilliant, but the Reaper is omnipresent! In court, in my lodgings, here, there, everywhere!
What's he looking straight at me for? I think perhaps there are some things we should discuss.
Oh, yes, we must.
Alright. Let's talk about the trial.
In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast my mind back, there were perhaps one or two other occasions that moved me more. But if I just block those out, then today, being in that courtroom was it was the most moving experience of my life, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
You're too kind.
Scotland Yard found the remaining tea just as we deduced, and they're analyzing it as we speak. There's nothing wrong with that tea. They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's a solemn, Sosuke certainty.
Tell me, did you both drink the tea at the same time that night?
Oh yes, most definitely. Remember, drink tea while it's hot. We both poured it down our throats like it was a hot bath for our bellies. And at the time, you were both completely fine.
As shown by the fact that he and Mr. Shamspeare then engaged in the Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings will be how the poison was taken by the victim then.
That rotten Shamspeare! What have I ever done to him?
You don't recall him taking issue with you over anything you've done recently?
I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything. Anything at all!
Right.
But what I don't understand is why he didn't let me know sooner. Let you know what, Mr. Natsume? About the soap, of course. What else? Dear, are you struggling with such a meager stipend? Of course I am. If I had money, I wouldn't have chosen to live an accursed existence in such accursed lodgings.
Oh yes, you said it's because the place is cursed that it's so cheap, didn't you?
Exactly, especially the room that I rent. The spirit of that capital offender who lived there still haunts the place. And it's trying to kill me!
Capital offender?
Might I ask, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, that the next time you visit me, you bring scores of super soft soaps?
Sure. Can I show him the...
What's this?
It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shamspeare's room.
Ah. Well, he knew, did he?
Sorry?
About this man, Selden. A convicted killer. And the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings.
You're right.
What? He's already taken one young man's life, and now He's trying to take the life of another, a miserable mustache much malign Japanese man. Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please, you must tell us. Tell us everything you can about this evil spirit. The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. That Selden man was arrested about a year ago now. And at the time, he was hiding out in lodgings at Mr. Garadeb's house.
What? He lived where you do now?
That's right. Exactly where I live now. In my very room. Oh my! Your room was previously occupied by a criminal found guilty of a capital offense. But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. It was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse. What really is this curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume? It's already caused one death, a few months after the criminal passed away in prison. A man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact. The poor lodger. He was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside.
Locked from the inside? Exactly like the case we're dealing with now. So that's the convict's curse, is it?
Yes, well, that was the start of it.
Okay. Tell us more.
Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume? The official cause of death was asphyxia. When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas.
Gas?
I only found that out after I had signed the lease. When Mr. Garadeb came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I'd known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily, legal.
Lucky for Mr. Garadeb, maybe, but not so lucky for poor Mr. Natsume. And now you believe this curse is affecting you.
It is. At first, I just felt as though I was being watched. All the time.
And then you talked about having nightmares, didn't you?
That the dead are trying to take me with them. They come for me and try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up. And the room is as cold as ice.
But why is your room so cold?
London winters are too cold to bear without any heating overnight. But for some reason, even though I light the stove before I climb into bed at night, the pilot light always goes out and the room fills with gas.
But that's terrible. That's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. And then there's what happened to Mr. Shakespeare last night when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident than can be explained by a curse, though.
Whatever can be the cause of all these strange happenings in Mr. Garadeb's rooms?
Do you know anything about this? Nothing much? No, I don't think so. No, it's not a present. Ha! Oh my god. What about the handprints? Do you know anything? Nope. Let me just go through everything. Make sure I got everything. Medical report. Nothing. Crime scene photograph. Nope. The cups. Nope. The envelope. The soap. Soap.
Mr. Natsume, what do you know about this?
Ah, there it is! That lathery lowlife that took my neighbor's life and sent me sliding to the depths of despair. Slippery, sickly, psychotic saboteur. You've really gone off soap, haven't you? Absolutely, and I've made up my mind. The next time someone gives me soap as a present, it's friendship finished firmly forever.
I don't know that we can blame soap for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume.
Street map. No. Book receipts. Mr. Natsume, about this receipt. It occurs to me now that it was those confounded books that saw me arrested the first time too. The soap is innocent. Oh yes, I suppose that's true. After I spent my precious pennies on them. That's the thanks I get. Now I don't know when I'll read them. No, not when. If! I may very well hate them too much to even open their covers.
I don't know that we can blame the books for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume.
Have I shown you this before, Mr. Natsume? Have you looked at my armband? Oh, yes. The sweet, sweet aroma of our beloved homeland. It shows that the wearer is a defense lawyer. It means nothing in Great Britain, of course, but I still wear it. Oh, I know exactly how you feel, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. My Haramaki belly band! I don't feel right without it. Your Haramaki belly band? It's perfect for the cold English winters. Just a thing to keep my tummy warm. Yes, I see the link. Almost. Is he sniffing the bracelet? Yes. Obviously. Wrong button. Hospital?
What do you suppose is happening? It sounds like some sort of disturbance.
Yes, I hear angry voices. Be not angry, O ample lady. Verily thou art mistaken.
Mistaken, my foot! You were looking at my painting!
The eye of man hath not heard. The ear of man hath not seen. 'Twas foul indeed, the poison that mustached villain gaveth me. Forgive me, lady.
I wish you died from that poison.
God a mercy, ample lady. But thou seest I have vigour still. Behold my Shamspeare dance! He's gonna step on that painting real soon.
This looks rather ominous, doesn't it?
He just turned on a dime there. That was scary. Ah, lo, 'tis the lawyer from the land whence riseth the sun. How now? What are you doing here, Mr. Shamspeare? Beautiful dance. Marry, I do believe I am returned unto another ward.
Just looking, that's what he was doing, looking at my terrible work.
Eastern fellow, so darkly clad. Faith, thy work in court this morning was wonderful. I do applaud thee. Oh, well, thank you. But... well, that's that stuff, I guess. That doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? Ah, good as new, I guess. Yes, exactly. Okay, bye. Mr. Shakespeare might technically be the victim in this case, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that. It's very hard to pin the man down.
I'm so sorry. I'm such an awful person.
Oh, Miss Green, is everything alright?
Oh, yes, I mean, don't worry about me. They're about to discharge me, so I must get ready to leave now.
Oh, I see.
We're delighted that you'll soon be well enough to go home, Miss Green. Oh dear, you're too kind. I don't deserve it.
I don't remember the voice I gave her. Is this not McCrispy's theme? Interesting. Maybe. Perhaps. So, are you feeling more like yourself today, Miss Green?
I am. Thank you. I mean, people do recover from ordeals like this, don't they? Even people like me.
Well, yes, it really was an ordeal, wasn't it?
As far as I was concerned, I was just walking along in the snow one evening minding my own business. And then, completely out of the blue, I was struck in the back by a knife and collapsed unconscious for days. Of course, when I finally woke up again yesterday, the whole business had been cleared up already. What a terrible week it's been for you. Oh no, I'm sure I'm very, very lucky, really. I look back on this fondly.
Really?
Anyway, I must be getting my things together now, so I'm ready to be discharged.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry to take up your time when you're obviously busy. I don't really think there's anything to do around here. Ah, you're here now, Mr. Garadeb. Right, Polly, business it is for me, you know. Getting out and about. Are you at the Old Bailey by any chance? Naturally. Fate of my lodgings hanging in the balance and all that. Not a trial to miss. The fate of what's already been dubbed your haunted lodgings, yes. Of course, the place has caused quite a stir around the capital on more than one occasion already. As the old haunted lodgings or some such. Ah, well, at least he knows. You should wonder what the place is going on, don't you? Don't you now? Don't you know? Don't you? Yes, I'm sure it does. Oh, Sholmes, you're here.
In fact, thinking back to Mr. Natsuma's other trial just 2 days ago. You were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened.
I do appreciate the moon, the sign of him. Yeah, me too. Stopped off at the prison on the way home, in fact. Beastly business. See. So, what brings you to my haunted abode today, eh? A fishy fella from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh? Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late. Thanks to that bally curse. The convict's curse, you mean? Ah, the stories have you. Rotten scoundrel was arrested here. Then the next chap in the room goes and keels over. And there was that woman who dropped dead just outside in the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. My next day? Well, I can't help but get the collywobbles, can you?
When you say the woman who dropped dead outside on the street, do you mean Miss Green?
Because Miss Green, who was stabbed by the knife, and Mr. Shamspear, who was poisoned last night, are both very much alive still. Yes, well, so is that blasted convict's curse, it seems.
Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace, a fascinating history, Why? It sounds like the lap of luxury. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, there's no bath or toilet included, and no fireplace either. But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas labs up here. Yes, it never hurts to keep an eye on things in case there's any mishaps or such like.
I think you've had your mishap already, sir. Wow, so funny.
That's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes.
Heaven forgive me. The words just came to my lips.
Some fishy fella from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character. What? There's no need for that, Mr. Garadeb.
That's right. Mr. Natsume is in no way fishy. He is undeniably peculiar, however.
Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately? Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away? Yes, that's right. I asked this estate agent to find someone and he popped up the very same day. Never come across a chap so keen for a place. With a background, as it were. I don't think it was the room's background he was keen on so much as the cheap rent, actually.
So, how long has Mr. Shakespeare been lodging under your roof?
That failed actor chap. Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it. Only 3 months. He's quite new here too then. Here too then, God.
And to what do you owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garadeb, if I might ask?
Well, it was that Selden scoundrel as it happens. Selden? The convict, you mean? Do Selden and Shakespeare have some kind of connection then? That convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clink 3 months ago now, you see. Some malady or other.
Yes, we've seen the report from the newspaper at the time.
Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedian showed his face. The actor fellow. 3 days later. Really? Yes, I do remember it quite distinctly. 'Tis small, this world we inhabit. Prithee, landlord, hear my request. I, the humble Shakespeare, do desire to take thy room on the middle floor, offered erewhile for rent. Terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. Already have a lodger on the middle floor. Ground floor room is vacant, though. Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat mine will unto thee. Those curls must be muffing your ears. The room on the middle floor's taken. It's ground floor or nothing. So he wanted the middle floor. Interesting. Very well, we have an accord. Glad to hear it. Lo, a Shakespeare dance to celebrate! That's not the same dance. What I heard in court today sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was 3 months in arrears with the rent too. Yes, the fella was a bally player, all right.
Thank you for your candor, Mr. Garadeb. We are most grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words.
Did he murder / try to murder the people in the room he wanted? I don't know. But it sounds like there's something in that room that he wants.
Give me my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me.
What's happened to you?
Shakespeare, my dear fellow, one of his most famous lines. I wish to divulge my own learning on the subject. For I have a turn for literature too, you know.
Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines then. Picture. Mr. Garadeb, could I ask you to look at this photograph? Is that your son who's with you there? No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name. Duncan Ross? A street photographer happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot, just for kicks really.
Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume?
Yes, that's right.
Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room in mysterious circumstances. Just what Mr. Mustache was waiting for, one might say.
Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before that Japanese chap. Would you mind telling us a little more about him? Yes, Duncan Ross. Young chap was attending art school, had to work to pay for it, mind. Moved into the middle floor room about a year ago, after that criminal Seldom was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for rooms with a history behind them. A history of cheap rent, maybe, yes. Yes, well anyway, it was one morning about a month ago now. Hadn't quite worked out the old trick of watching the gas lamps to see what my lodgers were up to at the time. So sadly, I was rather tardy to discover what had happened. Smell of gas that alerted me it was. As I saw a while ago that writing Garadeb, Kana becomes Gari Debu. Or Gari, super skinny, and Debu, very fat. Interesting. Kind of mean, I guess. But I guess it's just like to... There are a couple of contrasts, let's just say that, because like, he is the moon, she is the sun. Gari, Debu, apparently now too.
Ah, yes, synonymous with the smell of death.
The police drained away, of course, and the officer kicked the door off its hinges. Once we got inside, we all bawlily collapsed. Because of the gas? Yes, the room was full of it. Nowhere at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed. So Mr. Ross suffocated to death. Of course, the police gave me a sound ticking off, because the gas pipes were so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it set me back to have the lot replaced all over the house. But even after you had all that work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. That the stove goes out at night whilst he's asleep in bed. Well, that's the bally curse! The convict's curse! I've done my duty as a landlord now. I was feeling defensive. That reminds me, actually. Yes? About young Duncan. The night before the poor chap perished. He'd been writing a letter of affection to a young lady.
Love letter, you mean?
Yes, where did I put it now? You kept it? Here it is. Left it on my desk.
You'd excuse me. Let me see now. What does it say? To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence? My dear Miss Susato, that is precisely why I prefaced my reading with "if you'll excuse me." Prefaced. I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes, no!
Sadly. Sadly, he didn't address it, though. I have no means of delivering the thing. Rather sad, really. I see. That's going to play on my mind.
But really, the identity of Mr. Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should leave well alone.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
Indeed, the intended recipient's address is missing, however. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Mr. Sholmes, please! I've already had to chastise you about this once. My undying love to you, my colorful darling. Olive green.
Wait. That's fucking right. I was like, here, he looks familiar. Isn't he in the same, in the picture? In Olive's room. Isn't that him? Olive Green? The woman who was plunged into a coma after a knife plunged into her back outside this house 5 days ago. The victim of the last case Soseki-san was in court for, who regained consciousness only yesterday. Thank you for the summary. It's a just chance that her name has come up now. Could it possibly be a mere coincidence?
Mr. Naruhodo, whatever can this mean?
Reading personal correspondence can have its merits, you see, Miss Susato. Well, back to the hospital we go then.
Mr. Naruhodo, I've just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last.
This is good news, but hopefully just before she leaves. What is it? Miss Green! What was that? She clearly just hid something behind her back.
One moment. I'll be with you in a jiffy. Oh, hello everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor has said I can be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together. Miss Green, what were you just doing? Oh, nothing, really. I was just about to take some medicine the doctor prescribed for me, that's all.
Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you, if that's alright.
I don't really have anything else to tell you.
Was she going to drink something she should not? Ooh. Alright, she's definitely behaving strangely. See if we can't coax something out of her. Before that, though. Look, there's a photograph. Yes! I just had to double check. Ah, fuck me. Okay. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross. You knew him, didn't you? I hate that the first thing I fucking thought about was Danganronpa blood. Oh no, I'm so sorry! The bottle of medicine fell down when she did.
Oh, Miss Green! Are you alright?
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to startle you like that.
No, it's alright. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know about Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter. To you.
That envelope looks similar in color to the small part we found. Ooh.
It's at the art school. That's where I met Duncan, a year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of becoming a professional artist one day. And the two of you became romantically involved. Yes, that's right. We were very much in love. We were engaged to be married, actually. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room, to save money for the wedding.
And that's what led him to Mr. Garadeb's.
Yes, he told me he'd found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then, 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green. She looks desperately sad.
I was starting to think that's just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her. Nope. Okay, let me just go through everything, just to have done it. Is there perhaps something you might be able to tell me if I show you this photograph, Miss Green?
Oh, is that... corpse?
No, he's not dead.
Of course, the night he had the poison, I was still more or less dead here in my hospital bed.
Ah, she was still in a coma then, that's true.
And then, just as I get on my feet again, that man keels over. There's a strange balance to life sometimes.
What is this, pushing daisies? No, really, Mr. Shakespeare isn't dead. That's all she had to say about that? Okay, cool. Oh, you already did this one. Never mind. Whoa. Where is Ned? Miss Green, about this soap.
I think I know what that is. It's that soap-shaped chocolate, isn't it?
No, this is just normal soap. Well, normal poor quality soap.
Oh, that was lucky. At least it wasn't a trick this time. A trick? I fell for it only the other day. It's soap-shaped chocolate, they said. Just one bite and I was foaming at the mouth. I passed out. It tasted so awful. Oh my.
What is it about people recently that makes them all eat soap? Ha! Okay, go. Better safe than sorry, you know. Hospital discharge. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green. Discharged. Discharge is something else.
Oh yes, I mean thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering and wasting space. Not people like me, anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. I probably shouldn't stand around and chat.
She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk, that's for sure.
I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but... would you mind leaving me in peace now? I have to leave the hospital soon.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way. Is that... Sholmes? Yes.
Surely you were not about to leave. That's quite out of the question.
What? Mr. Sholmes, I didn't realize you were here. Oh shit, that fucking rat died.
But of course I was, my dear fellow. Watching intently from the shadows as always.
Well, make your presence known next time.
Mr. Sholmes, what's this about? Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Miss Susato, is this. Why do detectives insist?
Why do the detectives insist?
Why do detectives insist on such an ex post facto modus operandi?
Operandi? I never remember which one it is. You do you, I guess, shows?
Why solve a case after it's happened, instead of preventing a case before it happens? That is what sets a great detective apart.
What do you mean?
There is a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruhodo. So let us avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening with nothing but careful observation.
Alright.
All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look, and you cannot fail to see. You can do it, Mr. Naruhodo. I know you can.
Ignore the rat for now. Definitely feels as though this card must be relevant. I mean, when we first arrived, Miss Green was standing with it in her hand in what can only be described as a very tense atmosphere.
Yes, it may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Sholmes believes was about to happen here. Perhaps we should ask Miss Green about it.
That mouse seems to be dead. Look, I didn't notice it there before, did you? It's a mouse?
I think perhaps it drank the medicine that spilled out of the bottle.
It just felt too big to be a mouse. But I guess, like, regular mice can get pretty big. I don't know.
But that's the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived.
Yes, piece it together now, slowly. You don't think...
Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of the scene.
That looked more like a rat. Yeah, I thought so too.
That of a tragedy about to take place.
Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, the contents of the bottle you had before has spilled out on the floor, and the poor mouse that drank it has sadly died. I think it's clear that the bottle must have contained a powerful poison.
Don't worry, I will attend to the mouse presently. Miss Green, were you intending to go the same way as that rodent? To take your own life?
Once we'd left, you would have put it to your lips again, wouldn't you? And taken the poison. Oh no.
Miss Green, please talk to us. Seconds later, and we would have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would not have enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been quite so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green. Actually, in a way, now that everything's out in the open, I feel like a weight has been lifted.
Tell me, how did you acquire that medicine? Or medicine. It's just that they'll just yeet the mouse out the window. Who knows?
Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctor comes to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while, so I snuck this out when he wasn't looking. It conspicuously lacks a label. I wonder what it contains. I'm afraid I don't really know.
So you were just planning to drink something that may or may not kill you. Oh no, this poor woman. I feel so sorry for her.
I thought if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow. Oh, please, Miss Green, don't talk of such things.
Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison.
That poor little mouse is proof of that. Oh no, it's all my fault. What have I done? I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection? No, none.
What about the card?
Neither the sender's name or address appeared to be written on the envelope or the card. It arrived by post at my home the day before the incident that put me in the hospital here.
I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th of this month? That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road.
And 5 p.m. It's precisely the time when the incident occurred. The Slug and Salad, yes. A pub on the northern corner of Briar Road.
Briar Road? Being the street that Mr. Garadev's house is on. Hold on, let me... Yes, okay.
Does this mean that... As I'm sure you've guessed, that day when I was struck in the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad. Goodness!
So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day.
Sorry I didn't say anything before. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. I told you everything.
Yes, I'm very sorry to have had to drag up such painful memories for you.
No, it's fine. Miss Green, please promise us you won't try to do anything like that again. Yes, don't worry. Your detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave with a bottle of poison, and I'm still here. I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. Might sound a little conceited, but, well, that's how all this has made me feel.
Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mr. Sholmes.
Well, it would appear we've reached the end of the investigative trail for today.
Yes, it's late.
And, Mr. Naruhodo, did you discover anything that may be of use to you in court tomorrow, do you think?
Details about Mr. Shemspeare, Mr. Garadev's lodgings, the convict Selden. There are many facets to this case, and we're yet to see to the heart of it, if you ask me. That's my feeling anyway.
I can't help wondering about the result of the analysis.
Into Mr. Nutsmith's tea, you mean?
Yes, will they have found strychnine in it or not? Well, I fear that either way, it will be hard to escape the grip of our friend Mr. Reaper. Dear.
Yes, Barak van Zeeks.
But I wish you every success, of course, and though I was late to rise this morning. Tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour and attend the trial.
Mr. Sholmes!
You're going to come? Indeed, whatever happens, I shall be there. Assuming my eyelids cooperate in the morning.
Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Mr. Natsume's cause until the very end. Sweet London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people. But away from the razzle-dazzle down back alleys and behind bricked-up windows, the lonely lurk. Sosik-san had battled long and hard with loneliness during his many months here, and so I felt honor-bound to battle equally hard for my compatriots, to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes said, tomorrow would be a new dawn, for all of us. I'll do the first trial part. Oh, he's back to his I am a cat.
This is it then, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, it's time to put an end to this now. To the miserable curse that has been plaguing Mr. Natsume. To everything.
And in my own small way, I shall do everything I can to help you.
I always appreciate your help, Mr. Sato. Suffering, Soseki is selfishly sidelined. Good morning to you too, Mr. Natsume. Good morning! Good morning, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Listen to you two, chatting away happily as if the main player of today's trial isn't here! Why would you do that? Why?
Oh dear, we didn't mean to cause offense, Mr. Natsume. I thought perhaps that because you had your eyes shut so tightly you were meditating, finding inner calm. It seemed wrong to disturb you.
I was waiting. What's the matter, Mr. Natsume? You seem different somehow today. Why, naturally, that's because I've attained spiritual enlightenment. The path of literature, you see, is a journey to discover one's own death. Or such like. That's the sort of morning conversations I was hoping for. That's why I had my eyes shut. I missed the signs, I'm afraid. Somehow. You'll have to forgive me.
And you mustn't talk of your path leading you to death, Mr. Natsume.
That was just an example! Oh yes, there it is, inner calm. You barely came to see me at all yesterday. I was sure you'd abandon me and return to our beautiful long-lost homeland.
We've not even been in Great Britain a week yet.
Yes, well, anyway. I intend to set everything straight in court today. I'm determined to uncover the truth. I've actually reached an important decision myself. Oh? What sort of decision? I shall fill you in after the trial. Alright.
It would seem Mr. Sholmes isn't coming today after all. It's a very clever message, I think. My dear fellows, you must win this battle on your own merits.
It's a very clear message, I think, that he's overslept again. The great detective, my arch nemesis. Long may he stay away, if you ask me. Defendant and your legal representative. The trial is about to begin. Make your way into the courtroom immediately. Today, once again, we face the Reaper. And when the Reaper stands for the prosecution, the defendant's fate is sealed. But I don't believe in that legend any more than I believe in Sosuke-san's curse. The truth is hidden here somewhere, and I won't let it escape me. I have to keep believing in my client and keep fighting to the very end. That's all. Oh, let me just check how long this part is. It's probably fine. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. Yes, the defense is ready. Very good. And now I call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury, chosen by lot to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to proceed? Chosen by lot. You know, somehow, I really doubt that. Absolutely. Justice will be done, you mark my words.
I feel obliged to say, I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat is sitting just right. Oh, well, I wonder if you could adjust my hat for me, and please, be as ruthless as you like. Juror number 3 simp confirmed? Thieves deserve to die if you ask me, especially gas thieves. I have no sympathy for the man at all. This is the last time that they were chosen since they were in the last trial with Sosuke. Yeah. Look, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again now. I don't have time for this. Okay, I don't care about you. Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict again today.
No. Lord Fun6, what can you tell us? Juror 3 isn't a femdom, yeah. The prosecution's report, please, for the court. In relation to the theory expounded by the defense yesterday regarding the defendant's tea. Oh, he does have the results. Before the prosecution delivers the black news about the black tea belonging to the black god in the dock. Pray, allow me a moment to savor a liquid of a more sanguine hue. In fact, I'll defer to the good detective for the report. He's to you, Inspector. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. As indicated by defense, we found a bar of soap just outside the victim's window in the snow. And there was indeed a frozen reddish liquid in the little depression on top of it. Yes, that's the tea! That's what Mr. Natsume brought with him that night. Well, the brains at the yard analyzed it, and yes, you're right, it was tea. And there wasn't a trace of strychnine or any other toxic substance in it. No poison at all! In other words, the tea that the defendant brought with him to the victim's room is innocent. It's in the clear. Oh. What a revelation! As I suspected. This makes it quite clear. The defendant, Mr. Sosuke Natsume. My learned friend is jumping to conclusions again. A typical Nipponese reaction. What? Yes, it's true no poison was found in the few drops of liquid recovered from the soap on the window ledge. But what logic is that? Would you take a drop from the Thames and conclude that the water in the ocean isn't salty? My word! The water in the ocean is extremely salty, Counsel. Exactly. Unfit for drinking. just as the victim's tea was on the night in question, as the court has already heard. Where is your proof, my dear sir? The only thing we have proof of right now is that the tea was clear. That there was no poison in the tea. So you can't go here and say, but we don't know that for sure. I mean, I know that's how I do arguments, but that's because I like being a little shit. You don't do this shit in court. But the Thames runs into the ocean, not the other way around. Like, Yeah, true. Bitter was the precise word from the lips of Mr. William Shamspeare. You and the prosecution now calls back to the stand. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's request.
Mr. Shamspeare.
Yes, it sounds like we're going to have another confrontation with our theatrical friend. Bailiff, show Mr. Shamspeare to the stand. He tested Shamspeare's cup with Shamspeare's tea in it. But they couldn't because there was no tea left or something. Which I find kind of sus because what's this then? Mr. William Shamspeare, the victim of this despicable crime. Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember? Forsooth, 'twas I, Shamspeare, did have a bellyful of the foul fluid given in mine innocence. But the tea and the soap was in his cup. I mean, I guess. But that's not enough for angry vampire man. Yes, but as was revealed in yesterday's proceedings, the witness is not as innocent as we had perhaps first been led to believe. By using bars of soap such as this, he has been stealing gas from the supply company, yes. One may smile and be a villain. Forsooth, 'twas I, Shamspeare, did have a roomful of the sweet fuel given. That's right, fellow jurors, don't forget. This man is a rotten thief. Haven't forgotten, kept all about the ice coins a tidy secret, didn't you? You should have owned up sooner. I thought you wanted to go home. Why are you suddenly chipping in? Interesting. Arrest him, I say. Arrest him at once, and let him feel the sting in my tail. Oh, indeed. By dint? Of vile and cowardly means have I plotted to further mine own ends, I confess. Thou wouldst not pardon my sins, of that I am sure. If you acknowledge your wrongdoing, what exactly are you doing here? Cowards die many times before their deaths. And for a coward such as I, death be well deserved. But would it that a still greater crime passeth unpunished? For lo, the hairy-faced gentleman of farther east than Verona did contrive to poison me. But there was no poison in the tea found in your room. The police have attested to that. What the defense would assert as an inconsistency will quickly be cleared up by the witness's testimony. You still choose to trust him? He literally has sham in his name. Isn't that so, Mr. Shamspeare? Verily, my liege, I would most gladly speak. Very well. Let the witness testify to explain this inconsistency. Tell the court why it is that poison apparently entered your body through none, though none was found in the tea.
The Japanese man did come to my chamber with tea brewed in a pot. 'Twas in my cup alone that the wicked miscreant secretly poured his wicked poison. Whilst feigning distraction in our debate, ne'er did a drop of his own drink pass his lips. When he departed by and by, I did use the tea that remained in his cup to make my coins of ice. Thus, 'tis no surprise that poison be not found in the tea I did pour into the molds of soap.
The poison was slipped into the cup after the tea had been poured. The normal way for poison to be administered, in my experience. Quite. Otherwise it would be disastrous if the poisoner were to mix up the cups, for instance.
But no poison bottle was found at the scene.
Because, quite simply, the Nipponese took the bottle back to his own room. So, did you find said bottle in his own room, or... do you somehow not have enough evidence to examine his room? Investigate his room. Sorry. The absence of a vessel containing the poison only becomes problematic when considering suicide. I knew that. By now, it should be perfectly clear. A bar or two of cheap soap is wholly insufficient to wash the deep stains of guilt from the accused's hands. And they accuse the defense of wild theories and unfounded accusations, right? Have they even fucking investigated Sosuke's room? At all? Like, at all? Even just fucking peek their head inside the door? Sirs, madams, 'tis true that I, Shamspeare, be a common thief of gas. But, listen here, ladies and gentlemen. Wherefore would I lie? Verily, I have no cause. I have naught to lose. Well, I do declare. Thank you for your testimony, witness. Counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Okay.
Hold it!
It's different to what Swazuki told us. But the teacup Mr. Natsume drank from was found completely empty at the scene. And let's not forget the defendant's maxim, drink tea while it's hot. I did gulp from the poisoned cup that night, and in mine agony did I writhe uncontrolled. In fits of pain I did knock the fellow's cup and its contents spilt as blood from a gaping wound, methinks. Though certainly it was after I had made the coins of ice from his tea. An upset cup was found on the table that the victim was slumped over. There is no contradiction here. Sir, the entire man is a fucking contradiction in himself. Like, what? It's true there was no tea left in either cup that we found at the scene. But still, something about this statement is troubling me. Yes, of course, I know what it is. It's Mr. Natsume's wise drink tea while it's hot maxim, isn't it? Well, I'm not sure that's it. Thank you, witness. Now reiterate for the court what it is that occupied you after your guest had left and before you drank your tea. My head hurts. Yeah, let me just see what happens here. We just gotta find a flaw, I guess. I'll press everything. I understand that you were already acquainted with Mr. Natsume. Is that correct? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Do I know thee, or know thee not? Methinks 'tis all I can know, that thy destiny mingles with mine. You lost me at the first thee. Same, honestly. Zounds, sir, thou must learn the English tongue afore thou turns thy hand to lawyering. This isn't fucking English anymore. I mean, I know it is, but like, no one fucking speaks like this. I did, but I must have missed the archaic Elizabethan lecture. Verily, and in truth, 'twas a fine-flavoured brew, though a drop of poison did barb its sweetness, as the thorn doth barb the sweet rose. That, dear friends, be the simple truth. Listen to Mr. Shamspeare. He seems in even better form than he was yesterday. Either that, or I'm in worse form. That fated evening, after I did dine, at Grubb's Grubbery, a local alehouse of good report, naught did pass my lips but the tainted black tea. But behold, the poison was not in the tea at first. Hold it! Are you saying that you saw the moment when the poison was added to your tea? To have witnessed the act and then drank the tea? Thou dost describe the actions of a fool. Quite so, quite so. But no one likes going thirsty, do they? Sooner would I die quenched than parched. Would I have the choice? Actually, on the night in question, the water main was frozen, I believe, wasn't it? Were it not for the tea, in sooth, I would sooner have died frozen than quenched or parched. Right, no ice coins means no heating. The witness had more than one brush with death on the night in question, it would seem. Remind the court, Mr. Shamspeare, as to whether the accused drank any of the tea which he brought with him. With the greatest of pleasure, my liege. Oh god, what do I have here? This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking. Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of the cup is completely clean. I suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark. I almost gulp it down too. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold. Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea. There it is. Hold it! No, fuck me. Yes, so that you could cheat the gas company, in fact. Isn't that right? To cheat? Oh, no, oh, to die! Oh, I thought it was gonna be fucking... Or not to cheat, that would have been too funny. Or to die, 'tis life's only choice. Yes. Faith, to cheat be the wise choice, and mine occupation be not an ugly one. Prithee, dost thou not see beauty in the simplicity of the ruse? No, I don't. And be very sure, sir, once this trial is over, Altamont Gas will take you to task over this legal task. Oh, you gotta make tea. I shall not run. I shall not hide. Sooth to say, I have nowhere to run, nor to hide. But, my lady, what wouldst thou with this pitiful player? Oh, I'll tell you what I'd like to do with you, starting with this shoddy shirt on your back. 'Tis time for a Shamspeare dance! What a harsh world we live in. The thieving of the gas was addressed in yesterday's proceedings. The prosecution calls on the defense not to muddy the waters with irrelevancy. Consider that a warning, counsel. Yes, my lord. Why am I the one in trouble here? Mr. Shamsby, after the accused returned to his own lodgings, you used his tea to make your coins. Is that correct? To cheat or to die? I did make my choice many moons ago.
Objection!
You claim that Mr. Natsume didn't drink a drop of tea on the night in question. But that's impossible.
How? Chop logic. What is this, you dark-clad fiend?
The two teacups from the scene, one used by the victim and the other by the defendant, have a clear difference between them. One that represents incontrovertible proof.
Incontrovertible?
What difference? Look at the inside of the cups. Just here, there's a clearly visible ring.
Yes, a tea ring.
Commonplace enough.
Indeed. Such stains occur all too readily when one leaves tea in the cup for a while.
And yet, Mr. Natsume's cup has no such ring.
Good lord, you're right. It's completely clean.
And prithee, sir, what mak'st thou of it mixed?
Of it?
Exactly what Mr. Natsume told the court yesterday. The Japanese saying he quoted.
And it's hot.
That's right. Yes, the jittery Mr. Natsume was true to his usual self that night and drank his tea in no time. If, as you claim in your testimony, he didn't touch a drop of his tea, a ring would have developed on the inside of his cup as well after the several hours the tea was left standing.
But, my poor cup is filled with tea rings and I keep forgetting to drink it. Oh no. Oh well. It'd be like that, I guess.
In short, Mr. Shamspeare, you clearly lied to the court.
To a nunnery!
Objection!
As a rule, I fill my hallowed chalice up to 7 times during any one trial.
You might want to keep that information to yourself.
Yet on occasion, tedium distracts me and I pour more times than I intended until the bottle is dry.
Your drinking habits are fascinating but irrelevant.
Drinking habits? He barely fucking drinks, he just yeets it into the fucking lamp in the back. On the contrary, they illustrate the fickleness of human memory. To William Shamsby. Yes, my liege. Though you previously stated that you made the coins of ice from the leftover tea in the accused's cup. Could it be that you were perhaps mistaken? Wow, okay, someone get this fucking sham of a prosecutor out of this fucking court. Could it be that, yes, perhaps there was some tea remaining in the small teapot left at the scene? A fact that had vanished from your memory until now. Where was the teapot? There was no teapot. Was there? I don't think there was. Can't really see it here, but there was no teapot. There's a kettle. That's not the same. Faith, my liege, thou art a magician. You never mentioned the teapot. Yeah, you can't just fucking bring shit up like that. For verily, 'tis as though thou hast seen with thine own eyes that night. What? Forsooth, I was mistook. I did plan to use tea from the Japanese fellow's cup, but lo, when I looked, 'twas empty.
And thus did I use the dregs that festered in the teapot, as my liege did suggest.
Objection.
And you've just suddenly remembered now that you made a mistake before. Are we supposed to believe that?
Objection.
People's memories are imperfect, my learned friend, which is why we rely on evidence instead. But in any case, it makes no difference. Where is your fucking evidence then? The victim's most recent testimony tells us two things of note. Firstly, that the poison was put into the victim's teacup only. And secondly, that this spoiled cup was not the source of the insipid ice coins that have bewitched this court. The prosecution makes a fine summary of the facts. Furthermore, the testimony remains valid and in full support of the established facts. In other words, evidence is necessary for the defense only, right? The inconsistency claimed by the defense simply does not exist. Oh! I don't know what this means. My head hurts. My lords, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I do solemnly swear that I am up to no good. After I did dine at Grubb's Grubbery Alehouse that night, naught did pass my lips but the black tea given me by the Japanese whose back be stooped as low as death. And on what did you dine, sir? Why, I did partake of my favourites, a broth as wouldst be called a soup, and a leaf as wouldst be called salad. As insalubrious a menu as this establishment were, where it was served. But you gods will give us some fault to make us men. Willingly would I suffer what punishment is to seeing fit to serve a wicked thief of gas. But I pray you wise and noble fellows, now forget the simple truth. That be one thing, and this be another. Jurors all, your humble servant Shakespeare doth entreat you, punish the Japanese fellow for his sins. Oh my god. Hold on, let me just check how far into this I am. Okay. I see. Not very. Oh no. If I may speak, my lord. Yes, Mr. Foreman? I believe we may have been duped by that rotten defense lawyer. By me?
I do declare you may be right.
You know the waif there was making coins of ice to keep himself warm. This lawyer lad says if he's stealing gas, he deserves a dose of poison, eh? He's been leading us up the garden path, that's what he's been doing. I really never said anything like that. But what we just heard from the victim here, there has opened our eyes again. We've reached a decision this time, and we won't be swayed from it.
Mance literally has sham in his name. Why would you even remotely decide to believe him?
Like... The court acknowledges the position of the jury foreman and will duly hear the jury's findings. What? No, you can't yet. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your decisions now. Oh my fucking god.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
These people must really get their daily exercise in with jumping to all these conclusions, right? Ugh. I hereby declare the jury to be in one accord. Oh, happy day! How is this happening? My lord, the defense asserts its right to carry out a summation examination. Very well, the court upholds the defense's right. Typical. My learned friend is unable to accept the obvious truth. No, that will be you! That will be you!
That would be you. Can we just turn those words right back at you for a while? I am tired of your bullshit. Fuck off.
This trial will therefore enter its second summation examination immediately. Jurors, the court calls upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime of which he is charged. Oh my god, I'm fucking tired. Okay. A matter of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. Do you agree that gas is far too expensive? I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying. The stuff explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal, gases. Gas doesn't come for free, it costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes. Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times. Has nothing to do with the case. Fuck off. Nothing else passed the victim's lips that night. There is no other explanation, is there? I do feel that perhaps personal opinion about gas and its supply has influenced decisions somewhat. But never mind. No, you really should mind.
The truth is, our counter-argument wasn't as unassailable as we'd hoped. And Mr. Shakespeare was poisoned. There could be no doubt of that.
Then how are we supposed to turn this around?
I think we need to establish the method by which Mr. Shakespeare was actually poisoned. Our only hope is to demonstrate that to the court incontrovertibly.
But that's surely almost impossible at this stage.
If we don't manage it, though, Mr. Natsume will
be found guilty. No delays, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Yes, I get it. Look at this. Look at this fucker in the background. I wish I played this on the fucking Switch. 'Cause then I could just zoom in on his fucking dumbass stupid grin. Okay. Yes. I figured I just wanted to figure out which one to start with. Okay. No, I know how to do this. I don't need you right now. Press you. This isn't the time or the place to be discussing the price of gas, madam.
But really, think of the injustice. Air is a gas, and air is free. Why should Altamont gas cost money? It makes my blood boil. I can feel myself becoming more ruthless than ever.
This isn't the time or the place to be ruthless either.
If I might interject here.
Yes, madam?
It seems my fellow juror takes issue with the price our company charges for gas. But it's precisely because of thieves like this man, that the cost goes up.
God, I'm struggling.
Oh, what a beastly man! That unkempt mustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning tea and stealing gas, utterly unforgivable. No, no, no! Mr. Natsume isn't the one who's been stealing gas! I'll thank you not to go adding on more crimes. Mr. Natsume hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I've quite made up my mind. It is made up as the price of gas.
Hold it!
Lethal, you say? Could we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir? You like, I mean, to be honest, I'd take the poison of a gas every time. You'd take poison? What I mean is, poison can only poison you. It doesn't explode, does it? Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, lawyer man. Well, it's certainly true that poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up a room. You're right, I hadn't considered that at all. Young lawyer man. Yes? You have a good head on your shoulders. We could use someone like you as our company's legal representative. Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of a trial, that's for sure. I haven't had the best experience with gas companies, okay. Even Nuttahold is fed up with the jury being so off track. Yeah, for real. Gas doesn't come for free. Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas? I'm the one fucking pursuing it. There's an all-out attack underway here, in case you hadn't noticed, against my company's gas. And I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so. She's really buzzing now. Ha 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 ha. All I've heard about our wonderful fuel is explosions and poisonings. What about electricity, What about getting electrocuted? What about that? Little explosion here and there is nothing in comparison.
Any explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madam. Nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable.
My point exactly, but the gas thieves aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious reprobates to contend with on a daily basis, you know. More devious? Who, madam? Other gas companies, of course. Other gas companies? Not quite what I was expecting. We generate gas and we deliver it to our customers fair and square.
Indeed. Nobody is questioning that, madam. Altamont is an exemplary gas company.
But there are other unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't have any gas at all.
What? But if they don't have any gas, how do they go about selling it to people?
You wouldn't think it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that.
They steal your gas? How on earth is such a thing possible?
Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's homes via a network of pipes. But these devious reprobates secretly disconnect our pipes and divert our gas into their own rotten pipes. Then they make a contract with the household supplied by those pipes and take money for the precious gas that's rightfully ours without us even knowing. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally. What a brazen form of theft. When we visit customers' houses to collect the money from their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks.
Why is he pogging right now? If that's not a fucking pog, I don't know what is. Right?
Excuse me.
Juror 3 pog. I'll fucking get. Oh, it didn't work. Ah, shit. Do you have something to say about that, juror number 3? I think I might just get that later. Oh, golly, you mean me? I'm terribly sorry, I was just thinking to myself. I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct? Well, yes. I just got a little riled about it recently, you see. Go on. An Altamont gas worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipework. We need to ask for your cooperation while we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So I let him in, and do you know what he did? I'm afraid I have no idea. Please tell us. He proceeded to take one of my lights off the wall. Then he grabbed the exposed mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it. What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there. Oh, please, everybody knows. It was very nearly the death of me, I can tell you. What do you mean? I'll explain, if you don't mind. As I said before, these unscrupulous other gas companies connect the customers to our pipe network. Yes, but how does blowing into the pipes come into it? Obviously, there's gas in the pipes, and it's at a fairly low pressure. By blowing air through the pipe, you can make the pressure drop temporarily. And if you do that, any light connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment.
Ah, I see. In other words, if upon blowing into the pipe the lights of an adjacent property that has no contract with your company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with the pipes.
Exactly, my lord. That is it in a nutshell. It's the reason why we have teams of workers going around neighborhoods to investigate which lights flicker. The trouble is, the particular worker who came to my house didn't know the strength of his own breath. He blew down the pipe with all his might, and you can guess what happened, can't you? If he blew hard, then... Wait, you mean... That's right, the lights didn't just flicker, they went out, along with the stove. Gas started pouring into the house. What a disaster. The gas supply must have been interrupted briefly because the man blew too hard, so the flames went out. I'm afraid I yelled at the fellow. Are you trying to kill us all? Okay. So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exposed gas pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamps and stoves connected to the same network of pipes. And then, when the gas starts flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room. Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps... Is that what Shansby was doing to that light? Oh! Oh! That's right! Oh, this motherfucker. This is almost certainly the clue that we've been hoping for. Juror number 3. The defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information. Please. Okay, yeah, whatever. Did he kill Duncan Ross that way too? Maybe. But, hold on. Look.
Okay, let's press this one. Does that mean that if the victim could be shown to have ingested something else, you'd change your leaning?
I'm sorry. What's that now?
Oh, I was just saying, if the victim did actually eat or drink something else on the night.
What's the matter with you?
Can you present evidence? Oh, maybe.
If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there? Haven't you been listening to me at all?
I feel there's an English expression about a pot and a kettle that's appropriate here.
Compared to the other jurors who don't even appear to have anything to say about the case at all, it would seem that this elderly gentleman has been listening to the proceedings far more intently.
I suppose the trouble is, my nose is itchy.
He has selective hearing?
Exactly, but still, this juror may well be the key to the breakthrough that we so desperately need. Like showing the painting picture on the third juror's statement. Let's see. Or I don't need. No. I cannot. Let me... Okay, press this again. To extinguish everything in the house. You mean even on different floors? Floors are connected to the same pipe after all. It's true of every building. Because gas supply contracts are issued for whole properties. I'm so tired of doing their voices and I forget what voices they have, so I'm... We had no idea that it was possible to extinguish gas appliances simply by blowing down the pipe. It's not something we like to publicize, to be honest. But we have to carry out these investigations, as I'm sure you can appreciate.
It has been mentioned on more than one occasion in the papers even.
That's so. It's been mentioned to me too, very recently. An incident involving the gas stove going out inexplicably, almost leading to someone's death.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps...
I think it's finally starting to fall into place. The secret link that joins all of the strange occurrences. What is it? These two?
Objection.
It is. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 6, did you hear what juror number 3 just said?
What? Yes, of course. I heard him mumbling about something or other.
There is another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in a matter of speaking, pass the victim's lips on the night in question.
What? What explanation?
I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall light at the scene? To see if there were any traces of poison there. I was curious to see what your floundering would result in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe... Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance. What a piece of work is a man! What are you trying to say, Mr. Shakespeare? What speakest thou? Prithee, is it not strange and strange? That is what I say to thee, sir. I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The strychnine could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body, but why would it be there?
Good lord!
Are they tastier than gas pipes? Is that what he's saying?
Or is the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with gas?
Actors would perform a kiss scene with him, For shame, madam, speaking thy fancy. I assure you, I am not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipes.
Objection.
This is no summation examination. This is a farce. You're a farce. Fuck off. The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nipponese friend's conjecture. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips on the pipe that feeds it, he would have to be a contortionist. These are empty assertions. There is no possible proof that the man did as you say.
Objection.
What if I do have proof? It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Shakespeare put his lips to the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shakespeare has been doing something in front of that lamp on his wall. And I have evidence to prove it. You got our attention, lad. I'd like to see how you can be so sure of yourself. So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Yes. Now that I have got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. Make it straight. Don't look back. Don't hesitate. When you go big time. This is to prove that, time and time again, Mr. Shakespeare stood in front of his gas lamp.
Take that.
I bet Fanseeks is gonna be like, but there is no way to prove that these are his fingerprints. And meh, 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 meh. God, he's so annoying. These are... Wait, what are they called? Yes, skin prints that were found at the scene.
Skin prints, counsel? I've never heard of such things. The Justice Ministry is currently assessing whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in court, however.
My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective Mr. Sherlock Holmes. It reveals all of the places that Mr. Shakespeare touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, that's black magic, isn't it?
Well, if anyone could invent something like this, it's the great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure.
But the science has not been improved. Yeah, that's it. I agree, this month's edition of Engineering Thumbs was quite fascinating. We found skin prints in many places that you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shakespeare also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in his room. For example, here. Around the hanging picture there? No.
Around the hanging picture there, indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible.
Well, I wonder, could he have been appreciating the artwork perhaps?
Okay. Turn. I don't have an artwork, but I do have a poster. Ah, yes! My favorite way to look at art! I love it! It's great! You can't even see my fucking face! Yes! Ah, wonderful! I'm sorry. At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, even worse since he was technically looking down on the painting. Yeah. Imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of... Ah! I don't believe it. The gas lamp. Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shakespeare has regularly been standing with his hands to the wall in front of that lamp. What have you been up to, you nuts? I'd ask the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statements.
Me? What did I say? You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you'll recall juror number 3's statement. Me now? When the gas worker who visited his home blew with too much force into the pipe, it caused all the lights and the gas stove to go out, and gas to start leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident was an accident. However, the simple fact is, if Mr. Shakespeare were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in this room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will. Crikey. Are you suggesting that the man purposely caused the gas to... Whilst I acknowledge that the prosecution is required to remain silent during a summation examination, I must toast my learned friend's utter disregard for the letter of the law.
What is the meaning of this, Lord Van Zieks?
This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints. Clearly that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case. It's an exciting new forensic technique, developed by a great detective. It's nothing. A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with too much time on his hands.
Certainly. Even research of this nature by the esteemed Mrs. Sholmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence.
But... Please, my lord, if I may.
Mrs. Sato.
It was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wished to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree.
We were so right.
You're right. Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide.
Juror number 3.
Oh yes, I do declare the great detective's investigation results sound absolutely fascinating, and I want to hear what that shady actor fellow has to say about those shady handprints.
Let's go. What's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy.
Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise.
No, wait! You heard his lordship. Okay.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo! If just one more juror changes his or her mind, Mr. Natsume's trial will have to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Sato. But I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh no, it was you who identified the clue after all. This is very much your success.
Why, Mr. Shakespeare? You seem to be losing your composure.
Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo. You can do it!
Very well. Continue, counsel.
Okay, you're the only one I haven't pressed. All the evidence, you say? That's right. And there's no room for doubts. It's all pointing at that Japanese man with the big mustache. Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the events on the night in question. What do you make of that? Your so-called skin prints.
It's an exciting new forensic investigation technique, developed by the great detective himself.
Numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shakespeare had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't
can't be denied that there's a possibility that there's a possibility that's where the poison was, but then again, why would there be poison there?
Oh, yes, I won't deny that it's playing on my mind. Hold on, wait, which way? This way? Yes, okay. But as the prosecution rightly says, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides, yes, even if the fellow has been up to some mischief with a gas pipe dozens of times before, it doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it? Oh, if you can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid I can't change my stance.
You do make a very valid point, sir.
What? No. Got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. Your game theory. If you and your Japanese cohorts can, that is.
Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Mr. Naruhodo, if we can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back.
What can I do? Is there any more proof I can give here? Can I show that Mr. Shansby really did blow down on the gas pipe on the night in question? I have supporting testimony.
No, in truth, I don't have evidence to support my theory. However, there is witness testimony that substantiates it.
Testimony? This is incredible! Whose testimony?
Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. A person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in the Garadeb residence that night.
Namely? Yes. But was that night? That's what I'm trying to think of.
Take that!
I guess it was.
Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant. Mr. Soseki Natsume himself.
The defendant? At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings! Even on that fateful night it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me! On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that a mere coincidence or not?
Good golly.
So that Shanspeare fellow blew air into the gas pipe to make the man's stove go out on purpose. Now hold your horses there. What would he do that for? Mr. Foreman! What is it, man? I cannot allow judgment to be passed whilst this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have conclusive evidence yet. However, you must surely agree, there is more to this case than meets the eye. Fair enough, like I said at the outset. I'm a man of logic, first and foremost.
Thank you.
That's 4 jurors leaning towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue. Okay, 1 decision left. And then that's the end of this. The summation examination that has concluded with a majority of jurors altering their decisions. 2 jury members now call guilty, 4 now call not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and, in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Suck on that, vampire dude. Mr. William Shamsby. My lord, how can thy humble Shamsby serve thee? What say you in response to the various revelations made during the summation examination? So God amend me, I do solemnly swear, I recall aught of either, the lamp or the pipe. Your handprints have made a tidy mess all over the wall here. How do you explain that, eh? I am done with this. The dignity of this great courtroom has been sullied enough already. Juror number 5. Who, me? As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from the self-professed detective's toy has no place in the British court of law. As such, whether or not this man did indeed stand before the gas lamp with his hands against the wall remains at this time unestablished conjecture. You would all do well to remember that.
Objection!
But the prosecution must concede that it would be extremely simple to verify. Just order the mouth of the gas pipe feeding that lamp in Mr. Shakespeare's room to be examined. If there are traces of poison there...
Objection!
What appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend's mind. You will recall that in order to check for the presence of poison in the tea, some remnants of the tea were required. Yes. Therefore, it shouldn't be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were to have been spread on the pipe, it would have completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible. I didn't think of that.
In any case, counsel, I fail to see what could possibly have motivated the man to do as you describe. Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air into the gas pipe work where he lived?
There's only one possibility that I can think of, and that is to use the leaking gas to commit murder.
Order! Counsel, precisely whose life do you propose this man was plotting to end?
The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we have unraveled the mystery this far. Mr. Shakespeare wanted to end the life
Take that!
of Suzuki. If a gas lamp were to go out, it would be noticed immediately, of course. But a gas stove, on the other hand, would be silently extinguished by the killer without anyone noticing. I live around this part myself, so I know what it's like. I can tell you, trying to sleep without the stove lit is pretty much suicide. You'd freeze to death in no time. Mr. Garadeb, the landlord, has a large fireplace in his part of the residence on the top floor. God, brain. In other words, it wasn't the landlord, but a fellow lodger whose life Mr. Shakespeare was trying to end.
Outrageous!
I'm talking, of course, about the defendant. Mr. Natsume isn't the villain in this case. He's the victim this man was trying to murder.
Good gracious!
Objection!
The accused is actually the aggrieved. Interesting. However, the fundamental facts of the case remain unchanged. Namely, that the accused is the aggressor here. What? How can you still claim that? Let us indulge your fancies for a moment and assume that there was indeed poison on the mouth of the gas pipe. The question that then arises is, who put it there? Who did put it there? The only logical conclusion is that the person responsible was aware of this man's trickery with the gas supply and his intent to kill.
Yes, that would indeed seem logical. If the assailant were unaware, how would he or she have known to lace the end of the gas pipe with poison?
So now we must ask, how could anyone have known of Mrs. Shakespeare's murderous designs? You mean to suggest? Naturally, the sole possible answer to that question couldn't be more obvious. Only the man whose life was being threatened could possibly have known. What? In other words, the person who put the poison on the gas pipe in what was a clear retaliatory attack can only have been the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Whatever Mr. William Shakespeare may or may not have contrived to do, he was nevertheless the victim of a potentially lethal poison attack. And the only person who could possibly have perpetrated that attack is the accused, Mr. Natsume.
The defense counsel's theorizing has failed to avert suspicion from the accused. Far from it. In fact, now that a clear motive for the poisoning has been successfully established, that suspicion is greater than ever. Would you not agree, my Nipponese friend? Ah! Ah! How did he manage to turn...
Oh my fucking god. Oh.
How did he manage to turn that around on me so rapidly? Mr. Naruhodo, you must respond. Otherwise, the members of the jury may very well change their leanings against us again. And this may be our last chance to gain the advantage.
What advantage?
Well, it would seem that somebody put poison on the gas pipe in Mr. Shamspeare's room. So we must name that person now and absolve Mr. Natsume of guilt.
You mean, name the true culprit?
I know it might sound impossible, but if we fail to do that, I have no doubt that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed once and for all.
As it happens, one possible culprit does come to mind. The evidence, the poison, it's all pointing to a particular person now. The prosecution calls for the jury to consider their leanings again. I trust you'll make the correct choice this time, Mr. Foreman. What? Oh, don't you worry, we know exactly what... There is one other person who I believe could have been involved in all of this. The true culprit of this crime.
The true culprit?
A term found only in second-rate novels featuring third-rate great detectives, my Nipponese friend. But why not? This farce has gone on for so long already, I see no reason to cut it short before its disappointing climax. Thank you. Tell us, my learned Nipponese friend, what is your latest theory? Who is the so-called true culprit of this crime? You said Olive Green? Olive Green might have known as well if her fiancé died the same way. I mean, we literally saw her with the poison.
Take that!
The name of the person responsible for the poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspeare is, I believe, Miss Olive Green.
Miss Olive Green? Miss Olive Green. I do feel as though I've heard that name in the recent past, Counsel, but I don't recall where.
Miss Olive Green. The woman from 6 days ago. The victim in the recent case of stabbing on Briar Road. An incident for which Mr. Natsume was arrested, I hasten to add.
Oh, of course, yes, Miss Green. She was left comatose for some 3 days, I believe, but I hear she regained consciousness 2 days ago.
And I hardly need remind the court that Mr. Shamspeare's poisoning took place 3 days ago. Given that the woman was lying comatose in the hospital bed at the time, she appears to have a rather fine alibi. True, on the night that the incident occurred, Miss Green was in hospital unconscious. So on the face of it, it would seem that she wouldn't possibly be responsible, but still. My colleagues and I visited Miss Green in hospital yesterday, and we found her to be in possession of a bottle of poison.
Good gracious, she had poison?
And there is another fact that links Miss Green to this case as well. The defense requests that she be brought to the witness stand in order to explain the details to the court.
Tell me, Mr. Shamsby.
My lord, pray, what be thy bidding?
Are you acquainted with Miss Green?
No, I've never heard of her. Judging by the look on Mr. Shamsby's face, I think perhaps he genuinely doesn't know her. At least, not by name.
As the voice of Her Majesty's prosecution here, I adhere to my word. We will see my learned Nipponese friends fast through to its conclusion.
I appreciate that.
He is so against it, but he's just like, you know what? You're wasting so much of our time, so why not? Sir, where's your logic? Where is the logic in that? Like, surely you would just want it to end just as soon as possible. You're just like, no, actually, let's drag this one out a bit longer, just so I can see how extremely wrong I was. The prosecution requests a short recess, my lord, in order to subpoena the witness and bring her here.
Yes, Miss Olive Green.
Indeed, my lord. 1 hour should be sufficient.
Very well, I grant the request.
Excellent, I hope.
The defense has made a most extraordinary accusation, I must say. But at the present time, I feel the prosecution's argument remains largely uncontested. Accordingly, I am afraid the defendant and his culpability remain the sole subject of this court's attention. Thank you, counsels. We reconvene in 1 hour. Court is adjourned.
Ah, thank God. I'm starting to get a headache too. I need to get something to eat. I'm fine. It's nothing bad at all. I'm perfectly fine. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna end this here. Next stream is on Thursday. As always, this case took another turn. Yeah. That was very much not expected. What the fuck? Also, that fucking last part, that was so weird because like the music kept going, so I was like, I guess it's wrong. But then it just kept going and I'm like, no, it's not. But yeah, I'm gonna end this stream here. Next stream is on Thursday. Join my Discord if you want to be notified every time I go live. Anyways, until Thursday, hope to see you then. Goodbye, good night, farewell, bye.